Anime in 2025 is kind of a disaster. Studios are now using AI voice dubs, One Punch Man is animated with like 2 frames per episode, and everything is just mass produced and has no soul, no identity or risk. But then we rewind back to the 2010s and we were eating good, and we didn't realise how good we had it, and a perfect example of that is Rakudai Kishi, a series with insane fights, a stylish and underrated art direction, a main character who actually worked for his power, and one of the best anime romances ever put to screen, and this is all packed in just 12 episodes. And then it just vanished, it was cancelled, it was buried, and we will never get a season 2. So today I'm breaking down why Rakudai Kishi was unjustly killed off, and why it hits harder than like 95% of anime we see today, and why fans are still calling it one of the most robbed shows of the decade, and this is despite it being an ecchi series. That's right, it's kinda Guna bait. Now, the main reason people remember Rakudai Kishi, including myself, is the insane fight scenes, because they are so peak. From episode 1, you can immediately tell something is different compared to most anime today. The art style pops, the camera work is aggressive, and the power system looks generic at first, until you realise that the entire point of it is to punish people who rely on talent alone. Now, yeah, I do have to quickly break down the power system, so I'm going to do it as fast as possible. So at the core of Rakudai's system are blazers, humans who manifest their soul as a weapon, called a device. Some get flashy elemental weapons, absurd abilities, broken stats, and others get stuck with a plain sword. Obviously, as you'd expect, the source of their power is mana, and this allows blazers to enhance their bodies and activate their noble art, which are signature techniques that burn mana extremely quickly. Normally, higher mana equals higher status. Normally. Why do I say that? Well, because Rakudai breaks its own system with the main character, Ikki Kurogane. Ikki has a microscopic mana pool, the most basic device imaginable, and is labelled as the worst one. Most blazers overwhelm their opponents with raw output. Ikki's not like that. He studies them, he reads habits, timing, psychology, and ends fights a lot of the time before mana even matters. This is why the first major fight, Ikki vs Stella, works so well. Stella is a prodigy, rank A, unlimited mana, and everyone is expecting Ikki to be deleted. Instead, he analyzes their swordsmanship, steals it with a signature technique known as Blade Steal, and forces her into activating her full power. And that's when Rakudai Kishi drops one of the coldest abilities in all of anime, and if you've watched it, you know exactly what I'm going to say. Itoshima. This isn't a traditional power-up. Ikki compresses all of his mana and life force into less than a minute, a noble art that he created himself. And once it's over, he's cooked, completely drained. He burns through 24 hours of energy within a single minute, so he's done for the rest of the day. In fact, in a lot of his fight scenes, he ends up a lot more bloody than the people he's fighting. And episode 3 doubles down on this philosophy though. The visuals go crazy, the wild camera angles, slow perception, bullets drifting past Ikki in real time. It's so good. You expect him to hold back, maybe knock the guy out, but nah. He cuts this guy's hand clean off and ends the battle immediately. And that's when you realise that Rakudai Kishi isn't playing anything safe. And there's another pattern that I really like about Rakudai Kishi, and that's the fact that every fight does feel unique. There's new matchups, new strategies, new visual identities, and we see this with Take Kurihara, a bully directly tied to Ikki's trauma, and just a terrible matchup for him in terms of abilities. Ikki even points out that if he was to fight Stella, he'd lose every time. Because her powers contrast his, she can use wide range spells that can remove his entire area that he uses to fight. But Ikki is known for close combat, so it's a very bad matchup. It's kind of like rock, paper, scissors. Just because Ikki beats Stella doesn't mean Stella can't beat someone that Ikki couldn't. Sorry, that's kind of complicated, but that's how it works. It's not simple. So Ikki begins to get destroyed. Not just because of this, but because of his trauma, until he adapts. Using Blade Steal again, he fully maps Kurihara's thought process and unlocks perfect vision, literally reading every move as it happens. The payoff is brutal as well, and it already cemented Ikki as one of my favourites because he literally slashes straight through the guy's nose and goes, damn. I was 1mm off. I need more practice. And now he's flipped the trauma he had onto Kurihara. And trauma does play a huge role in the series. And you see that with Ayase in her father's dojo. She manipulates Ikki, forcing him to burn out Itoshira early, sabotaging the match, and she goes even further, setting up traps all over the place. But Ikki backs her up to kind of teach her a lesson, and defeats her with pure swordsmanship. No magic, no gimmicks. And it goes even further because he doesn't even use Itoshira for the next fight, which is against Ikki Kurogane, the man who defeated ISA's legendary father, the so-called Last Samurai. He doesn't use his Hoshida again, and Ikki smiles, he enjoys the fight, and he steals a legendary technique from a glimpse of form alone. And this is when the art style directors and animators were like, you know what, let's go all out. So we see it in all of its glory, and I love it. The black and white visuals, the insane animation, everything is stripped down to motion and intent. And Ikki wins using Teni Muho. I mean, I'm not joking, the fights get better and better and better as the series continues. Trust me, stick around and I'll explain. Because the fight that everyone remembers most is Ikki versus Todo. We can already tell when we first see the fight start that it's something different. The symbolism carries it. You've got Todo drenched in light and Ikki buried in the shadows. The music is crazy good, like please go watch it because I can't show the music here, otherwise my entire video will be nuked, and I can't do it justice by just speaking about it, so please go watch it. But then the entire world drains of colour and the only shade we see is red. The red of Ikki's blood. And instead of using Itoshida for a full minute, he forces his body to use it for a single second. And he wins, standing there covered in blood like a demon. And this fight was just so crazy. Even the voice acting just went so hard. And honestly, the fact that this series never got a season 2, honestly, it's just robbery. Think of the animes that do get a season 2, like Asterisk War, for example, which was coming out about the same time, and people actually had theories that it was chosen over Rakudai. Guys, Beginning After the End got a season 2. Yep, Beginning After the End got a season 2, but this didn't. Now, considering that this is an ecchi series and it's full of fan service, I'm not gonna lie, I do have to talk about it. But what surprised me about rewatching it is that it's actually quite self-aware, which already puts it above a lot of most shows in this lane. From episode 1, you get the classic walks in on girl changing trope, but the difference is it actually makes some sense. Ikki and Stella didn't know they were going to be sharing a room, and then instead of having some bullshit moment, they actually immediately go to a trusted adult, the principal, about it, which barely anyone does in anime. And then the scene flips expectations completely, when Ikki, instead of being a perv, tries to strip himself to even things out. It's dumb, but it's intentionally dumb. And that's the key difference here. After Ikki wins the duel and properly acknowledges Stella, the fanservice starts tying directly into her character. Stella is openly sexual, confident in her attraction to Ikki, and not embarrassed about wanting him, which is honestly rare. Most ecchi anime rely on stupid accidents. Stella definitely doesn't. She makes choices. The bath scene, she chose to be there. There was no slipping, no misunderstanding, just bold, awkward honesty. And this isn't a harem either. Ikki has one romantic interest, and the tension comes from them both being emotionally awkward, not from indecision or endless misunderstandings, other than the first one, which actually made sense when they didn't know if they were actually into each other because neither of them made a move, which is a very teenage thing to do. Stella even feels guilty for how lustful she is, which sounds silly, but it's actually very realistic, especially given her upbringing. When Stella gets sick later in the series and things turn, well, ecchi again, it works because they're already a couple. They're teenagers, hormones are a thing. Ikki even turns her down, not because he doesn't want her, but because he wants their relationship to be public and earned, not hiding it. That leads directly into their emotional payoff. Even side characters like Ayase are handled carefully. There's no romantic framing at all, and after there's this whole scene where he's massaging her legs and she's obviously embarrassed, she's never actually into him, it's just obviously an embarrassing moment because she's never experienced something like this before. And Stella even talks to Ikki about it afterwards, turning what could have been some awkward fan service into character development for Ikki and Stella's relationship. But unfortunately, we do need to talk about Shizuku. The little sister in love trope is usually awful, but at least here it's explained. Shizuku's feelings come from watching Ikki be abused and wanting to give him the affection that he never received, even if it's twisted into something unhealthy. The show even mocks the classic not blood-related excuse by doing the opposite, and then forces Shizuku to move past it. And now, I'm not gonna lie, not every scene lands here. Some shots are unnecessary, some moments are just weird, and Stella stripping in certain scenes feels more like it was obligatory rather than meaningful. But the difference is this: the fanservice very rarely undercuts the fights. Yes, I am defending ecchi in an anime. Leave me alone. But honestly, the ecchi only works because of Ikki, as most protagonists wouldn't act the way he does and be as funny as he is. And as you can probably already tell, Kurogane Ikki is a goated main character. Unlike Stella, he was never taught anything. He's completely self-taught, and he still became the strongest, despite being the weakest. Honestly, it's dope that he's not just powerful for no reason at all. Like, he wasn't just born with outrageous mana for no reason, which we see in a lot of isekai and other fantasy manga. Anyway, despite his calm nature, you may think that Ikki is, I don't know, passive, but he's definitely not. When Bisho forces Stella to strip to save the hostages, which, by the way, is like one of my only critiques about the series, like, it actually really bugs me. Like, you don't need to have this sort of scene in anime, and it was a really big problem back then, and I'm not going to defend it. But anyway, after seeing this, Ikki obviously snaps. He doesn't hesitate, and he cuts off the guy's arm without a second thought, as I brought up earlier. And he deliberately misses Kirihara by a single millimeter, and it's not mercy, it's a warning. Ikki wants him to understand that he could have killed him at any point he wanted to. And if the situation demands it, you know Ikki will cross that line. You can just tell from his attitude. In battle, Ikki is almost unnervingly composed. Against Kurado, he remains calm even after being insulted and struck with a bottle, trying to avoid conflict entirely like some Shanks and Luffy type shit. But once the fight begins, he's cold, focused, and fully present. But outside of combat, Ikki is surprisingly awkward. That's what makes Ikki work. He's disciplined, respectful, emotionally scarred, and he's morally grounded at the same time. A protagonist who earns every victory. And it doesn't just go for him, it goes for the other characters in the series, like Stella, for example, and his relationship with her is honestly one of the best parts of the show. Because trust me, there's a reason why Ikki x Stella is considered one of the most memorable in anime, despite how short it was. It starts like many, with Ikki walking on and her changing, and then them fighting, and Ikki destroying her. Not in that way. Relax. Stella is the one who inspires Ikki out of his depressive state for one, and if you've watched my video on like Iruma x Amori, you'll know that I love when they have the romantic interest actually help the main character just as much as he helps her. Because it really bugs me when you've got these main characters, or side characters to be more precise, and romantic interests, who are so hollow, and they have nothing to offer, but Stella definitely does. And Ikki doesn't treat her the same as others, who just see her as talented and lucky. He understands immediately how hard she worked to be where she is. They make each other better. I mean, she also sees that his F rank makes no sense, and despite the unnecessary Ecchi scenes, their bond is believable straight away. She's the one who first screams that she loves him and inspires him to keep fighting despite his trauma, and I love that there isn't some, oh, I didn't hear you type shit. Ikki hears the entire thing, wakes up, and asks her to be his girlfriend in episode 4. Like, man, I wish more anime did this, because why are you tiptoeing around it so much? They are also still rivals. Hell, their relationship makes their rivalry even stronger. Stella is honestly hilarious as well. Like, she's a tsundere, yeah, but the way she tries to get Ikki to make a move is honestly so funny, and she's just so cute is the best way to put it. But there has to be conflict in their relationship, right? I mean, it can't just be all smooth sailing, so how do they do this? Ikki's whole family legit has a vendetta against him, as I brought up earlier, so when he and Stella are caught kissing, this bum uses it against Ikki because he always hated them. So bro is literally imprisoned by his own family and is forced to fight in the 7 Stars tournament away from his friends and Stella. It even has her questioning whether them being together is a good idea. Not because she doesn't love him, but the fact that it may just cause Ikki immense pain. Thankfully, Shizuku snaps her out of it, telling her to bear it since Ikki is willing to go through anything to prove that he loves Stella. He's imprisoned and barely fed for 2 weeks, forced to fight in the finals against Todo with basically zero energy. Now, we already went into that, but once he barely wins against her, and because of his family wanting to humiliate him in front of everyone, it's recorded by all, making it impossible not to recognize him. The world has to now. So he uses this opportunity to ask Stella to marry him. Yep, peak Protagonist. But what I also love is that Stella is one protecting Ikki. She bitch slaps this bum right into the moon, basically, and they get engaged. Yeah, so I love this relationship. I love how they prop each other up and make each other better the entire time. Having them be together early and having their bond develop as the series continues is something more series need to do. And I'm not just going for shonen manga, I'm talking about romance and all of it, because I am very sick of that. It's why a lot of people like the Horimiya, for example. And the fact that an ecchi anime was able to do this better than a lot of actual romance animes that span hundreds of chapters is crazy, and proves again why it was robbed of a season 2. You're probably watching this video going, oh my god, he's talking about all this development, but there's only 12 episodes. Yeah, that's how good this series is, and could have been. The potential for the series was insane. But yeah, We'll never get a season 2. It's been over 10 years at this point. But I needed to talk about it. I'm so passionate about this series and I want people to watch it. But it wasn't cancelled because it was bad. It was a victim of timing and other anime that are more flashy getting above the unique art style of Rakudai Kishi, because it definitely takes more effort to make a series like this and they just want to do mass-produced stuff because money is all that matters now. So I went kind of deep at the end, but that's genuinely how it is. If you guys do want to see more of my videos, and I'm going to be doing more analysis stuff like this on series I really do think deserves second seasons, Rakudai Kishi is just one of the many, and yeah, make sure to subscribe for more analysis, and check out this video on screen right now if you want to see more from me. Okay, bye.